Now, let's talk about Raya and Calafiori. We've completed our first deal this transfer window, and according to reports, Arsenal could be about to make the first official bid for Calafiori. So let's discuss that. Let's start by David Raya. Believe it or not, he's still not our goalkeeper, but this is the latest on him, according to reports from Fabrizio. Understand Arsenal have now formally activated the buy option for David Raya from Brentford. He's an Arsenal player on a permanent deal for £27 million. It was already decided and now completed. Formal statement to follow, but all done for Raya as key part of Arsenal project. Now, listen, I think this could be the worst kept secret in terms of a player that you'd have signed. Like, I was 100% sure that this player would be signed. Now, there's a couple of weeks ago, there's part of me that dropped to 95%. I was like, oh, could he? Maybe, I'd say you can never predict. Like, we thought Ramsdale would be our goalkeeper, and then boom, it just changed like that. Like, you'd never know. Something could happen. You started hearing links to play goalkeepers like Lonin, who would be first choice, would want to be a first choice. Why would you leave Real Madrid as second choice goalkeeper and come to a different team, maybe a second choice goalkeeper? It didn't really make sense. But 95% of the time, 100% of the time, I really knew that Raya would be the Arsenal goalkeeper. Now, before we go into the transfer itself, because was there a part of you the last 1 month that thought, maybe Raya will not be signed?
No, absolutely not. Now, the reason why Arsenal didn't make it an obligation to buy and they made it an option to buy was because of PSR and financial fair play. And that's why I didn't have any doubts that it was going to be an Arsenal goalkeeper. Because Arsenal knew if they had made it an obligation to buy, then the money would have started counting right away. So that is a signing you've committed to buy, right? So you make it an option to buy so that you have you can explain your way away, and you're like, yeah, we could have not signed him, right? We could have chosen to send him back, and that's why Brentford also agreed a new deal with him before sending him to Arsenal, just to confirm that he is their player 100%. Now, like you said, was kept secret throughout the whole season. Fabrizio Romano, whenever he kept a clean sheet, Fabrizio Romano would tweet, going to be an Arsenal player next season, 27 million, already agreed. Paperwork.
And that's a lot of times, considering how many clean sheets we kept.
Exactly. Paperwork is in the corridors, everything. So, I never had any doubts. I knew he was going to be our goalkeeper. And I think he's going to be our goalkeeper for like the next 8 years.
Do you think he deserves it? Or do you think you're like, nah, we could have gotten better?
27 million, bargain, absolute bargain.
Well,
and as a player, he absolutely deserves it. I said this to one of my friends. He's cheaper than Aaron Ramsdale. You cannot believe it. He's cheaper than Aaron Ramsdale. He's a bargain. Come on, he's really, really a bargain. For you to come into a new into a new team from Brentford. And he actually came from the Championship and made a big difference at Brentford. And he was one of the best goalkeepers while he was at Brentford. But for you to come from Brentford, a club that really doesn't care about winning anything, all they care about is the revenue by staying in the Premier League. And then you step into an Arsenal side. Yes, he's had that. He has had his ex-goalkeeping coach Inaki Keina working with him. That's a big boost. But for you to come and give Arsenal defense a big lift, a very big lift in confidence, you can see how William Saliba goes and overlaps, and not overlaps, but just tucks into the midfield. Gabriel also, as part of the midfield. They all play. When we are in possession, our centre backs are in the half of the opponent. Now, that is because they have a goalkeeper they can trust. They know that David Raya can quickly come off his line. They know that he can read situations. They know that if I'm at the center line and I play that ball back, I have a goalkeeper that will receive it, wait and wait and wait for the right passing option. That is what he brings to Arsenal. With Aaron Ramsdale, again, very, very good example of a goalkeeper who I think is good, but has, steps to develop in his game. I think Mikel Arteta never wanted to wait for Ramsdale to develop. It would take time. It would take a lot of coaching, to raise his confidence, to work on his concentration throughout games. So Raya absolutely deserves it. The mental test for you to play for Arsenal is huge. But for you to play for Arsenal while they go against Man City and you have a quick impact, less goals conceded, more chances created, more chances scored, that starts with Raya, because Raya is our first attacker and is our first defender as well, right? At Arsenal right now, we've got this feeling of, if you beat our defense, beat our goalkeeper first. And it is really, really worth it. He's made some very, very great saves. Yeah, I think one was against Tottenham Hotspur in the first leg, where we thought that should be going in, Brennan Johnson, and then he just travels on the line and puts it out. That was a really good save. So for me, if anyone thinks that Raya doesn't deserve it, you're probably having an agenda that you're driving, and it's not healthy for the club. Raya is one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. For me, top 3.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because you notice, like, September, October, there's a lot of Ramsdale and Raya, discussion and all that. But the moment you go to January, February, March, April, May, that story died down, and that was because we didn't really feel like this is a position that we really, really want to improve. And asking fans throughout the transfer window so far and before the transfer window started, which positions you want to sort out, not many people say damn goalkeeper, because Raya has been really good. Now, mistakes will happen. Yes, I know that he gave away the goal against Lens. I know people say they should have been closer to his line against FC Porto, against Galeno, like a couple of mistakes here and there. But most of the time, that's because you said we are able to push forward, knowing that Raya can cover, knowing that Saliba and Gabriel have the pace, like they have that connection as well. I think it's done very well in terms of aerial set pieces from other teams. Yes, maybe once or twice you feel like we should have done better, but majority of the time he's been really good, and sometimes even helps us in terms of attacking, like against Crystal Palace right after we went to Dubai, that pass to Jesus, like he has that in his game, and we are able to improve our defense and improve our, it's not just defense, because people will be like, Raya doesn't even do anything, it's just the defense. No, I don't agree with that. Like the leadership there, like the communication with Saliba and Gabriel, for us watching on TV and some people watching in the stadium, that feel like he's not doing anything, he's only making one save in the game, but there's a lot he's doing. Another thing I love about Raya, because it is the interviews I see him whenever he's talking. I think he got interviewed by Thierry Henry sometime after we played a Champions League game, and they can tell his mentality is very high. He's also a family guy, and whenever he's asked, "Are you happy with the 2 clean sheets we've kept?" He's like, "No, I wanted 3. No, I'm not happy that you consider this past game. I think I should have done better." He takes responsibility as well. If he does a mistake, he says, "I made a mistake." Like for me, during this season, I think I gave him an 8 out of 10 in terms of the season. What was your rating for his season overall?
For me, for his season, I would go with an 8.5. 8.5 out of 10. He was incredibly important for our last part of the campaign. He was so solid and very, very, very quick. I like the fact that when teams are bringing in crosses, we don't have to mind. Actually, when we are facing crosses, 2 of our forward players start making runs before Raya picks up the ball, because they know he's going to pick up the ball, and he's got the intelligence to actually play that ball and find them. He's got that quality to find them. So just 8.5, but I think we will see a 10 out of 10 from him, a 10 out of 10 in terms of his season.
Wow. So in terms of there's a particular game, 1 or 2 games out of this particular 3. Tottenham away when you are leading 3-2 in the last 10 minutes, against United when you're leading 1-0 in the last 20-30 minutes, and against Man City in the last 10-20 minutes. Those games, there's some crosses being put in, and you'd come and collect them, and everyone would feel so relieved and calm. And this is coming from someone who at the beginning I was almost in tears realizing that Ramsdale will not play for Arsenal again. Like we did a show with Cozy back in, I think, August or something. I was like, nah, Ramsdale, people are making fun of me. I've been like, nah, he's being replaced, we need to move forward. I really loved Ramsdale, and he was a very good goalkeeper for us. I went on TV and I said he's better than Alisson. That's how much I rated Ramsdale. But Raya's come and he's taken the kicking and all that is very comfortable in terms of it. And unfortunately, you don't get to see Ramsdale playing for England because we're picked for players every day. But we did see Raya playing for Spain recently, and he had a very good game, albeit against Albania. There's still shots to be saved. He made like 3 or 4 very, very good saves, and he looked very comfortable in that game. So he can perform at a club level and at an international level
as well.
Yeah, and as we say, that's a loves family people. Like it's crazy. Like if you follow them on Instagram and stuff, you'll be very surprised. You'll find Odegaard's wife hanging out with Havertz's wife. You see Raya's grandfather hanging out with Ateta. You find, like, it's so crazy. Like it's like everyone is just so connected, and that's loves that. And Raya is such a family guy as well, and is nowhere near his prime as well. He's nowhere close to that. He's 27, 28 now.
Yeah.
So he's nowhere near 30. So still has a couple of years before he gets to that. So he can stay here for a long time. And I think 27 million, as Kosi said, I think that is a bargain. That is a very good price. Now, that is the first official signing. We now have a goalkeeper. You think that definitely suggests that Ramsdale is going to leave? Or do you think there's still a chance he's going to stay?
Well, when I look at Ramsdale's mentality, he's been first choice goalkeeper at Arsenal, at Sheffield, at Bournemouth. He's going to leave. He's gonna leave.
So that is the first signing that we made this summer, but could this be the second signing? Now, according to reports on Calafiori from Fabrizio Romano as well, Bologna expect Premier League clubs to bid for Riccardo Calafiori. Director of Bologna, Giovanni Sartori, said, I think he will not end up joining Juventus. Probably he can go abroad in case we decide to sell him. So it's going to be very hard to hold on to him, especially if bids come in for him, which we're expecting bids to come in for him. So this could be the closest we are in terms of making a bid, and it could be for Calafiori. Now, if Premier League clubs make the bid, I expect Arsenal to be one of those teams that will make the bid for Calafiori. Now, when you talked about Calafiori, it caused a week ago or something, we were talking about 60, 70 million. Now, from what I've seen from different reports, I'm not going to put them on screen because I'm not like 100% sure that is correct. There's talk about 42 million. Now, we'll come to that. If it's 42 million, it's crazy. Fabrizio also said, now that Italy are out of Euro 2024, Bologna expect Premier League clubs to jump into the race for Riccardo Calafiori. Arsenal are keeping a close eye on the situation, but let's see how they will move. He's been scouted by Chelsea this year. Liverpool could also be one to watch, though at the moment there is still nothing concrete happening there. But that was the previously before he said this. This is the latest. He has said that bids are incoming. Now, first up, do you think we should be jumping on this one right away, Coach? Like without wasting any time, this bid should already be in. 40 million bid right away.
I think it's very important to talk to the player first before rushing into with the bid, because this is one of those where the player is attached to a team. He's got a team he wants to play for, and I think him being Italian, he would love to stay in Italy. He might be attached to the country, the environment, the people. His family are there, his friends are there, so he might be looking to stay in Italy vis-a-vis moving abroad. Not many players actually find it easy to move and adapt to life abroad, but they move there for the money, they move there for the experience, and so many other things. So I think this one where Arsenal should be quickly trying to talk in Riccardo Calafiori into signing for the club. This one is where you talk to the player and make him change his mind. Try to show him the bigger picture. Why sign for Arsenal? Why not Juventus? Yes, you're not even a Juventus fan. You are a Roma fan, which is something I really, really like, because if he was a Juventus fan, we don't stand a real chance. But still, he wants to play for Juve as the biggest team in his nation, in Italy. We know that thing happens. But at the moment, Arsenal's biggest job is not Bologna. Arsenal's biggest job is not Juventus or Chelsea or Liverpool. Arsenal's biggest job is to convince the most highly sought after a centre-back in world football that we are his real destination, that we are his best destination. That's going to take some time. It's not going to be about money. It's going to be about project development. If I go away from Italy, how sure am I that I'm going to keep my centre back position next to Bastoni? Because that's the question he's going to be asking himself. There's so many young centre backs there, in Italy. That's the first question he's going to be asking. What if I'm playing abroad and I can't get into that Italian national team defense? So that's why many of the players prefer to play home. Spain, we have seen you have a bigger advantage. Italy, Germany, and all these others. So I think this one, yes, jump onto it, but jump onto it in terms of talking to Riccardo Calafiori. Yeah, convincing the player at the moment.
Now, we've been linked to like 5 or 6 defenders this transfer window so far. Branthwaite, Hato, Kunde, Diomande, Ignacio, a couple of others, Kadioglu. Now, the two that have really excited me, like, wow, this, the kind of game that they play, number one for me is Calafiori, and I'd probably have Kadioglu by the style of play. Like, the fact that he's very good in terms of, creating chances up front, getting assists, and then he showed that to us playing for Italy against Croatia, and the fact that Italy did not have him in the game that they, lost very easily to Switzerland. I don't know, would you say is one of the big reasons why they lost that game easily, or do you think it's at different reasons, or do you think him missing out was a factor?
I think his profile is very different from other players that Italy have, and his absence meant that they had to really juggle things a lot, and eventually it didn't work. They made so many changes. They had to change a whole style because they didn't have Riccardo Calafiori in that team. So is he one of the reasons why they lost that game? I think also the manager Spalletti, I could blame him, but 50%, if Riccardo Calafiori is in that game, Italy play much better, because it's got, you looked at that midfield, they didn't have any brave player to carry the ball and just take it, take it forward. There was no life in that team. Calafiori, that's one of the things he brings. He brings life. He's confident, he's brave. He picks up the ball and drives through the midfield. He gives you a different option that many Italian midfielders actually do not have. So yeah, it's one of the reasons why they lost the game. Defensively, I think he's insane to be that good offensively and then be that good, defensively. It's absolutely insane. So I think if Italy have him, and they still have the team they played in the first game against Albania, I think they progress.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So again, looking at the chances created last season for Bologna, the assist, the passing accuracy, and what is done for Italy this tournament as well so far, aerial duels, interceptions is very good in on both sides of the pitch. It's not easy getting a player like that. So they're discussing 42 million or something, but I'm sure Bologna would go for at least 50 million least, I'd say. But you never know. Maybe a team like Bologna would be happy with 40 million plus add-ons, and then that becomes a very quite a bargain, because playing on the left side, he can play as a centre back. Is, as we said, both sides as in terms of going forward and defending. It'd be a very exciting signing.